Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for you to be here today. As you can tell from the thumbnail, this page is all about the color green. I am using all of these green colored pencils, so many. Green markers, I'm using two different color green puffy paints because why not, I had them. And then green embossing powder. If you've not used embossing powder, it's gorgeous. I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. Then I found some brads that I have for my scrapbooking. I have some simple round ones. These are green stars, and then I also have some cool glitter ones that we're going to use as well. I'm using this Calming Mandalas Coloring Book by Kari Anne. This is available on Amazon, or you can get it as a digital download on Etsy. I'll link that in the description down below. That is by me, Kari Anne. All right, let's get started here. So again, this page is all in green. I have already done one all in purple. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it here up above and then also in the description. That was a fun one to do. What I love about this green one is that I actually pulled out even more green materials that I had in my craft room than what I did in the purple one. That's why you'll see me using puffy paint, markers, brads. I'm a huge crafter and I've been making cards and scrapbooks for a long time now, so I thought it'd be fun to really incorporate some of those materials in my coloring pages. I haven't really seen anyone else do that, so I thought, why not? Let's bouge this up. So I'm just starting here using basically any colored pencil that I can possibly think of that would work. I'm blending 2 to 3 colors in each individual area to really make this pop. I am using the Color 300 color pencil set. I really like this colored pencil set. If you're new to my channel, you may not have heard me say this before, but the reason I love a set of 300 is because I have not mastered the skill of mixing different colored pencils to get new shades. So I like to just grab a colored pencil that's the exact shade I need and go. And that's what I'm doing here. I've got cool tones, warm tones. You'll see that I'm using some greenish yellows, some greenish blues, greenish gray colors, and I'm just really liking the way that it works, the way that this all looks. So as I'm filling in the middle part of this mandala, there's also part of the same design in the four corners. So I've been doing that as well with different colors as I go. I wasn't quite as nervous to start this green one as I initially was doing my first purple one all in one color because I liked the way the purple one turned out, so I figured this one would turn out really well also. Right here I'm actually using the metallic colored pencil. There's two different metallic greens that come in the Color 300 kit. It's kind of hard to see the metallic part of it right now, like the shine of it, but those are really cool colored pencils if you've been thinking about getting the metallics. They also come with fluorescence in this huge kit, but there was just one fluorescent green that I ended up using. And here I'm just mixing a couple more of like the olive tone colors for the swirl here, and then going in and doing this nice scalloped around the leaves. One of the things that I love the most about doing these all one color mandalas or all one color coloring pages is that this gave me the opportunity to use every single colored pencil that I had in this Color 300 kit, and I want to say there's between 60 and 70. I don't remember the exact count. I had used a lot of them in my previous coloring pages before, but I've never used all of them except for when I was doing the initial swatches. So that was really fun to do. And you can see I'm just about done coloring this here. You can see all those beautiful colors really blend nicely. And I think it came out really nice how I did, the different light tones and dark tones. And here are all of the colored pencils from the kit that I used in this coloring page. Still can't believe how many we went through. Now I'm just going to use the markers that I had and add some details here to this mandala, adding a little bit of lines in some of the flowers and then just darkening up these circle parts here. Now I'm going to do the background, and I actually found that I had some green chalk. This is similar to pastel, but this is something that I got in like the clearance bin at the Michael's Arts and Crafts store. So I'm just going in with like a medium darker green close to the mandala. Then I'm going to go in with a lighter shade just outside of that before I blend. I wanted to leave a lot of white space on this because it's all green. It's very intense, very vibrant with colors. I didn't want to do the whole background green. I thought it would just be a little too much, so I wanted to leave some of the white space. So once I got those down, I'm just going in with this paper towel here and just really blending it all together. And you'll see it gets little chalk bits, you just shake them off. And then this shows you what it's like all colored. And now we're going to go in with the brads, and I'm going to start with this beautiful green glitter brad, and I'm going to do it directly in the middle of the page. Usually you can use this hole punch when you do brads, but because I'm doing something in the middle of the page, it's not going to have a long enough reach in order to do that hole there. So I'm just going to use my cute little X-Acto knife, make a little hole, pop the brad in, and then you flip it over and spread those two metal prong pieces on the back. Now I have all these tiny brads, and I'm going to go in with the lighter color here, and I'm going to put these in these tiny flowers in the leaf sections. So I'll need, I think, 6 of them to do. And same thing, that hole punch isn't going to reach, so I'm just going in very gently with my X-Acto knife and making a small hole so that I can insert those brads into the hole. And then once those are in, I'm going to put on all 6 of them and then flip them over and then spread out the prongs to get them to stay in place. And I've actually used these tiny ones a ton in my scrapbooks and my cards, so I'm excited to have them be on this coloring page as well. Now I have these star brads, which I don't think I've ever used these before. I just had them in my stash, and I loved where I ended up putting them. I put them in the 4 corners here, and just thought they added a nice little pop, a nice little bougie touch, if you will, to these. And then it just kind of shows you the 3D part of them. It's a little washed out with the color, but you can still see the 3D of all the brads. You can see the chalk background that we did, the beautiful colored pencils. Now it's embossing time, baby. I don't know if you've embossed yet, but it is really fun. I emboss my wedding invitations. I absolutely love it. This marker has a thicker end and a thinner end. Because I'm doing fine detail, I'm going in with the thinner end. So I'm marking where I want to emboss, and then I'm just gently tapping on the embossing powder. And then you're going to shake off your excess powder. Use a dry paintbrush, and you're going to get off any extra powder, because if you hit it with the heat gun while you have any extra powder around it, you're going to end up adhering that, melting that onto your paper. So get off, if any powder goes anywhere that you don't want it, you're going to want to get it off before you hit it with the heat gun, or that is there forever. All right, and you can see once it's on, once you hit it with the heat gun, it changes color, it changes from the powder, and it gets shiny, and then it's dry immediately. So I'm just going to go in with each one of these. I'm going to hit it with my embossing marker, and then I'm going to shake on some of the embossing powder, dump the excess off, clean it up with the paintbrush, and then just go on with all of them. You don't want to do too many of these at once, or I find like if you do too much marker in all the places before you do the embossing powder, you don't want the marker to dry before you get the embossing powder on it. That's why I did one at a time. Now I'm just hitting it with the heat gun here. If you don't have a heat gun, I've heard people have really good success with a blow dryer. I have not had the opportunity to use a blow dryer, but definitely give it a go if you want to emboss and you don't have a heat gun. Now I'm just going in the 4 corners here, and I'm just doing the center of this flower with the darker green. And you can see that this container of embossing powder is actually a lot smaller, so I needed to be a little bit more precise when I dumped the extra back in. So once I colored it, dumped it on the paper that I wanted, I dumped the excess off onto a spare white piece of paper. Then I was able to fold that in half and then shake all of that spare right back into my embossing container, and that worked really well. And here I am just hitting it with that heat gun, making it set. This embossing powder did take a little bit longer to set than the first kind because it was a different brand. Sometimes that does happen, totally normal. You can get your embossing powder at pretty much any craft store too. They have great selection. Now I'm going in with a puffy paint, and y'all, this puffy paint is over 15 years old and still going strong. I thought it was going to be dried up, but it's not. This is some quality, and this is like Walmart. I got this at Walmart. This is some quality puffy paint. Very fun to do. I have a whole container of it, so I'm super excited that I was able to pull out 2 colors to use it for this activity. I'm going with the light color now in these dots. I thought that would be a fun place for it. And then once I did all of that, I realized, hey, I hadn't done these 3 markers yet. So let me find a place to get these done. So I decided with the dark green marker, I was just going to add some outline into these leaves, make it pop a little more. And then I felt like with the lighter marker, I could do around the petals for the flower. And then the medium marker, just kind of darkening up this line in the flower. And that is my finished piece. So I'm just trying to zoom in at different angles here so you can see the brads that are 3D, the puffy paint that we did that are 3D. You can see the shininess of the embossing powder that we did. And it all came out really great. This was such a fun project, such a good use of the craft materials that I already had. I hope you try it. I hope you love it. If you do try it, comment down below. Let me know how it goes. You can always tag me on social media at Kari Anne Designs. I'd love to see your finished pieces. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and also subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one.